Well, returning now to British politics for our daily debate, and today we're talking about the story Beth Rigby was breaking on Sky News earlier. Council tax bills are to go up by 6% over the next 2 years to try to bridge the gap in the social care crisis. Is that going to be enough? That's what we're going to be talking about now, and joining me to discuss that are two former Health Secretaries, Labour's Andy Burnham, now running for Mayor of Manchester, and Stephen Dorrell, who's Chair of the NHS Confederation. Welcome to you both. Well, first of all, Stephen Dorrell, this advance news we have of bringing forward councils, putting up council tax to pay for social care, is that good?
Well, I think it's certainly helpful because it does offer more resource for a part of the health and care system which is reaching breaking point. It was the CQC earlier in the autumn that said that the care system, the state of care report, that it was reaching a tipping point and needs additional resource. Clearly, if there's more reliance going to be placed on the local tax base, that will raise the importance of the government looking at the fairness of local taxation between better off parts of the country and less well-off parts of the country. That becomes a more important issue in the light of today's emerging news. But the fact that there is more resource for this part of the health and care system is, I think, modest good.
Because, I mean, council tax rises, do you support that?
Well, it does, and I think there's a problem there, to be honest, because in my view it's dishonest of the government to say we're not going to solve this problem, so over to you councils. You know, you raise the tax at local level, you take the political heat for our failure to fund social care properly. So I think there is a problem here. Why should a problem of this magnitude be left to local councils? Stephen is absolutely right to say some councils will find the freedom doesn't allow them to raise enough money to cover the shortfall that we have in social care. And there's a further problem. It doesn't raise money now. The crisis in the NHS is now, this winter. And we need to move people out of hospital back home this winter so that we can make A&E function properly.
Is it passing the buck? Is the central government passing the buck to councils?
I don't think it's entirely passing the buck. I think it's what we're seeking to do. Andy's running for the Labour position as the Labour candidate for the mayoralty of Greater Manchester. Part of the purpose of that change in our system is to create more locally based public services with local finance, with local discretion. I'm in favour of that, but I'm in favour also of ensuring that local tax bases are fair and that in different parts of the country we have an equalisation system.
But I mean, there is this basic paradox. Why should the NHS be seen as a national priority when we keep on being told that it's connected to social care and getting people out of hospital, which is a local priority? I mean, isn't that a bit...
Yeah, I entirely agree with you that what we're talking about here is a health and care system, some of which is funded nationally, some of which is funded locally. I actually think that is a system that is likely to endure. I'm not in favour of taking it either all onto the local tax base. That would be absurd, or taking local decision-making the developing local authorities about the shape of a joined-up health and care system. I think there's merit in having both national and local taxation going into it, as long as the tax base is fair.
I mean, you are running for regional power, if you like, in Manchester, so presumably you are in favour of localities having a key role in both paying for and running these services.
I am in favour of that, but I think the role of people at local level should be to decide how money is spent, how best should we provide services here to meet the needs that we have. I don't think it's the role of local people to fix a major structural funding problem in the funding, in how we care for people in the ageing society.
You get rid of council tax altogether then and just have a preset from government?
Well, I think you've put your finger on the real problem at the heart of this debate. There is a disconnect between these two systems, council-provided social care and the National Health Service. It leads to the public feeling of frustration that they tell the same story to everybody who comes through the door because these systems don't connect together. I believe in true integration of the two, so that you have effectively a national health and care service, and I believe you will only get that if these two systems are funded on the same basis. Personally, I would like to see the NHS principle extended to social care, so that everybody contributes, but then everybody is covered for the costs of their care, and we don't leave people facing catastrophic costs of £100,000, £200,000. The local discretion is to take that national budget and say, we're going to do this in this way in this locality.
Now, I mean, you're also in favour of integrating the two systems. How would you do it?
I'm in favour of integrating the way the service is delivered. I'm not in favour of a single funding stream. I think that there should be national funding, certainly. There should also be local funding, and we shouldn't forget that social care, to a very significant extent in this country, is also paid for by individuals. So all
deemed to have got out of the hospital what they need, but are unable to be moved in the first instance because they can't be moved until that is cleared by the social services.
Yes. Actually, this is in danger of being oversimplified, this discussion. There are too many people who are ready for discharge from hospital that can't be discharged from hospital because the NHS itself can't be joined up. So we need to join up different parts of the health service, and then we need to join up the whole of the health service with the range of local public services. And people think this is social care, which primarily it is, but it's also, of course, around housing. Supported housing arrangements are often part of the package, which is why I think that the Greater Manchester development, which is being echoed in other parts of the country, is the right way to go. So we deliver a single package of services to a community.
I mean, the big question, though, this acceleration is, you know, it's £2 billion. It's a relatively small amount of money. I mean, are we really talking about a repeat of the Tony Blair-style step change in how much we spend?
Well, plainly we're not. The volumes of money.
Not with this, but is that what we need?
What we need is one of the things that I've been arguing with one of Andy's former colleagues, Alan Milburn from the Labour Party and also from Norman Lamb from the Lib Dems, that we need to have a fundamental review of the way the entire health and care system is financed, because nobody has yet been prepared to put on the table a package that is a credible basis for financing these services.
I agree with that, and there's a lot that Stephen and I agree on. We've both argued for integration over many years, but I think the difference is you're saying, Stephen, patch these things together, keep the different funding streams. I'm saying that caring for older people is complex by its nature, and therefore you need simplicity around those people in terms of how services support them. And I would say go to a single way of funding services, have a single health service for the whole person.
We are going to have to revisit this one. Healthcare, of course, a big issue in the United States, and Glenn Beck is one of America's most popular